Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am your host, Peaches. This is my returning guest, Telly. How are you doing today, Telly?
Good. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm I'm doing well. So, of course, I want you to be able to introduce yourself again. I know we did this on the previous show, but I wanted to make sure that for new listeners that people know who you are and why you're here.
Okay. My name is Telly. I am. Uh, Let me see. I'm retired military vet. Um, did 20 years in the Marine Corps. I work currently for the Department of Justice. I'm a deputy director of procurement services. I am. I love business. I have a business in real estate. You see my little logo to my company, Pinto Property Solutions. I'm a real estate investor, so I've been doing that since October 2015. Um, originally from Georgia, love helping people out, and wherever I can share knowledge, I will share knowledge on things. I have a few things in the works, which is I'm going to kind of drop a little nugget, exclusive nugget here on this podcast today. So stay on to the end, and I'll tell you guys all about it. Trust me, it's a game changer. So just pay
Well,
attention.
we definitely appreciate your nuggets because I know that a lot of people we struggle getting our businesses started and then actually having the resources to actually not fail in that process. I know some people have done like a trial and error type of situation, but it's always good to know people that have gone through the process so that we don't continue to fail as we start building these businesses. So kudos and thank you for always being available to drop those hints and nuggets.
Yeah.
Um,
I apologize for my background. As Peaches know, I'm always on the move. I'm always somewhere doing something. So today, when I looked at the time, I was like, "Oh crap! I forgot I had something else planned." So on the way to that, I just pulled over. Nice little background, down here in
nice
Tampa.
view.
Yeah, nice view. So I give y'all a little nice view as we share some nuggets here.
And just as a small recap, I know that sorry, hey everybody that's in the viewing behind the scenes. We have a few people commenting saying hello. But just a small recap of the last show, we basically discussed, the steps of starting a small business. I do know that we didn't get a chance to reference certain materials. So, do you have that so that we can also I think we did at least list the books in the last description, but do you
Yeah,
have those source materials with you today as well?
yeah, I do. You know, I will give a recap for those people who didn't get the last one. Um,
Okay.
you know, we talked about starting a business, and then I got into the part about funding, and that kind of perked up your interest. And I know that you're, a entrepreneur and you're working hard to do your thing. This is one of the reasons why I support you on all platforms. So I kind of got into the funding thing, and that got everybody's attention. So, in order to get business credit or business funding, you have to be what they call fundable, and that means the way to become fundable, you have to establish your business the right way, right? So you want to make sure that you have a business address. It can be a virtual address. There's different websites you can use for that. Um, One of the websites I'll give you guys right now is
Y'all
hold
better have
on,
your pen and paper.
right. uh what I did with it? I got notes everywhere, so I'm trying to remember. Oh, Regus, regus.com, regus.com, or opus.com. Either one of those companies can help you set up a virtual office. I think in Atlanta, Opus has virtual offices is available for $100 a month, and by having it gives you an official business address. You have access to someone who answers your call. You have a personal business number there. and it helps you get your businesses off the ground. Now, there's more packages they have that actually give you an actual office space, but most of us starting out in business, we work from home,
Right.
like Peaches does, right? So, but when you establish your business credit, you need to have a true business address, not your home business address. Now, you can use your home business address for other things, tax purposes, but we'll talk about that in later podcasts to come. But because the hours is not enough time to get in all the information that you guys need. So the second thing you want to do is set up your actual business name. So get your EIN number. You can Google EIN, and it'll take you to the federal website to register your business. Get your EIN number. Whatever state you're in, establish your business in your state. Register your business in your state. It can be $125, $150, or whatever it is. And then you want to get your bank account established and a domain name. Nope, no PO boxes. Whoever said that. That's correct.
Yeah.
No PO boxes at all. Now, I say no PO boxes to get your business credit established. However, you can have a PO box to have your mail forwarded from your virtual office address to the PO box. And the reason why you want to try to do that is you want to cut off any lines that connects you, your business, to your personal address because it depends on what kind of business you're in. You might not want some of your clients showing up at your house. So, for our women that is listening, that will listen to this podcast or is on this podcast now, especially you guys protect yourself. You're beautiful women, and the last thing you want is some clown, stalking you and coming to your house. So make sure you separate that as best you can for security purposes. So those are the quick basics that you need to do to set up your business account. There are other websites I can give you guys. Go to do your domain, get your domain name. Use G Suite. You can use GoDaddy.com to set up Monster Template and Fiverr or some and the other companies you can use to help build your website. Um,
Here.
Fiverr, Fiverr. So Fiverr is a pretty cool site. It has, people out there that can assist you with resume writing, um, doing logos. My logo came from a guy on Fiverr. I paid 25 bucks and he designed it for me and then he put it into the different formats and not only outright. So I can make as many copies and duplications of it if I want to. I can use it wherever I want to as logos and so on and so forth.
Someone said banks have want a physical address, but you can have a PO box as mailing address.
Correct. So the virtual address is a physical address. So when you go to those two companies, those are actual businesses locations, and they'll give you an address at their location, which is a physical location. So banks will identify it as a business location. Again, PO boxes, he's absolutely right, cannot be used as a business address. It can, but when you come to you getting credit and building your credit, it will not work. So you want to have everything aligned. One of the most important things to have everything aligned across the board. Make sure you have the same business name, your same address, the same phone number everywhere.
It seems
So
like
if
I
you
got some cleaning up to do then.
right, so like if you that's why you want to get your virtual business address first.
Okay.
Set that up first. And once you get that address, then go and set your business name up, get your EIN, all those things, get those things set up, and then get your bank account set up. Those are like mm, seriously key things. You can do all those things within a week.
So I got a question. So what if
Yeah.
you had already established a business and didn't do that part? And then so like I don't know, well I didn't tell you, but I set my business up through the PO box. So I how do like do I need to go back and revise that change through the site, the registration site as well?
Yep, yep. So everywhere you have your business at, your bank account, your website, your, Anything that has your business address and phone number, go back and correct it. It's not a one and done thing. Like if I don't do it right the first time, I can't go back and fix it. Trust
Okay.
me, it's not that. I've changed mine several times because I've moved several times.
Mm.
So I have a house in Maryland. I have a house in Florida. Currently in Florida. So my business is established both in Maryland and it's established here in Florida.
Okay.
So I have multiple addresses, but I go back into my Duns& Bradstreet, which is very important. It's one of the kind of business credit bureaus per se. Um, I go there to the website's too long to tell y'all guys, so just Google Duns, Duns, and Bradstreet, and it will come up, and you can establish your business there once you get everything else set up. So once you go into Duns& and Bradstreet, make sure that the information you put inside there, um, you go and you go to it's the same address and phone number and website, email address that you use. All those other steps I talked about, use the same one for Duns& Bradstreet, especially Duns& Bradstreet. Make sure everything is 100% accurate because most creditors and lenders, they're going to go to Duns& Bradstreet and what was the other? I'm having a brain fart. The other, hold on, I'll tell you in a second.
And y'all don't laugh at me. I'm taking notes because I'm an entrepreneur too. So this is why we do this thing, so
Right.
that we all can learn and make do it the right way when we are building our businesses.
Yep. Experian. So Experian, we know them for our personal um, credit scores, but they also are heavily the one of the most important ones for business credit as well. So you can go into Experian and look up business, and then actually type your business in there and search your business to see whether or not you have established credit. If I was in my office at home, I would show you guys a copy of what it looks like when you're a verified business. I'll text it to you,
Okay.
Peaches, and you can share on your platform whatever you want. So if people know what it looks like. It's going to say verified business. That tells you that I have established business credit. So you asked a question.
No, I just said okay.
Okay. So again, those key things I'm gonna keep saying this multiple times is make sure that your address, your name, your email address, your web address, all those things have the same phone number and the same um, same address across the board, right? So if you also with phones, everybody say, well, I just use my cell phone number. To credit lenders, cell phone numbers are not legit. You have to have, a what they call a landline. So you can get one of those. There are a couple companies that you can get from Ring Central, Vonage. Those companies are considered to give you landline phones, right? And if you currently have a business cell phone right now, um, you can, if you want to make sure you keep the same number, you can transfer that number over into Ring Central or Vonage if it's available to be ported over. And
Now,
if it is,
I'm
that's
sorry.
great for you.
Yeah, what if you have so how I did mine was I set mine up through Google. So how okay. So
So
so would I be able to transfer the number or this see and this is why I never posted the phone number here on for the show
mhm,
because I was going to utilize it as a means to um have people call in and ask questions.
yeah,
So I guess I could still keep that but just get additional for the business itself.
you can, or you can add, if you like the number, you can when you go to Ring Central or Vonage. I have experience with Vonage over many years. Um, you can ask them to if your number is able to be pulled over, and if it
Okay.
is, they will pull it over.
Okay.
So because I've had my home number from Maryland ported over to Vonage when I was overseas, and then I pulled it back out of Vonage back into my home in Maryland. So I know Vonage will do it. So it's just I would try there, but definitely you need a landline, not your cell phone. Cell phones is fine. You can have a business. I have Verizon business cell phone number.
Mhm.
That's great because, even though Verizon doesn't report to the credit agencies, it does help you show a business expense every month that you're paying. So it is important to have it, but you can't use it for the purposes of business credit. So I want to make sure I make a distinction between those two things.
Okay.
All right. So you know, another thing I want to kind of touch on is depending on what kind of industry you're in, depending on it will depend on what kind of credit that you seek to go after, right? So for some people, I'll speak for myself, and I'm gonna give you guys experience, my personal experience. So when I first started out in real estate, I did a lot of research and studying for about 6 months or so, and then I decided that the best thing for me was to hire a coach. So I hired a coach. I paid him $10,000. Where did $10,000 come from? I pulled $10,000 from my savings. Um, so as you build your business credit, sometimes you're going to need your personal credit and your personal money to help set up the things. All the things I'm talking about right now, I've talked about already. You will need those things in order to, from your personal side, in order to help your business get set up. So you're going to need some money in the bank to get that virtual office address set up, your Vonage or whatchamacallit email, your domain name, all those things. It's going to take you a couple dollars to do that. So I'll tell you ways to kind of get that money if you don't have that money. All right. So my first started out, I hired a coach. I paid him 10 grand. I knew I wanted to do this, so I set money aside, and I paid my coach 10 grand to get him to show me the ins and outs and do's and don'ts of the business. And but what I got that was way more valuable than I ever knew anything about was the connections. So because of his success, he had a lot of connections when it comes to the financial part. So people that invest into real estate and you first start out, you're like, how am I supposed to pay $150,000 for a house? I don't have $150,000, and I my credit, I might have decent credit, but I might not make enough money to go and qualify for an additional $150,000 to buy a house with, right? So you try to make all these things make sense in your mind. Well, this guy had investors, people just like you and I, that had money sitting in what they call a self-directed IRA. So the self-directed IRA that these people have set up, they might have took money from their regular IRA and they transferred over into a self-directed IRA. And the self-directed IRA, they're not allowed to use that money for themselves personally without being fined. And so they can transfer that money from the self-directed IRA to a business, an LLC of some sort. So what I did was connect with a lady. Um, she sent me $240,000. I used $200,000, I mean $140,000 to buy the house. I used the rest of it to repair the house, right? So literally no money came out of my pocket except for about 6 grand, and that's what I needed to close on the house to secure the house itself. All right. So so you have personal investors like that have money that can help you out. She used her self-directed IRA and sent it to my company. Again, this company, my company that I had registered already, that was official, had addresses and phone numbers and all that stuff, like I mentioned to you before.
Mhm.
Um, so all those things were set up, and then it made it easier for the transaction to go from business to business. And so once I pay her interest payment every single month, it didn't go to her. It went straight to her self-directed IRA.
Mhm.
And so we established a relationship, her and I. She didn't know me from Adam, but she knew this guy. And so his connection with her is what allowed me and her to establish a connection. So 7 years later, I can call her right now and say to her, hey, I see a house that I like. I think that, if I put 60,000 into it, I can sell it for blah, blah, blah amount. I would probably clear about 40 grand. And so she was like, okay, fine. She was like, when do you need the money?
Mm.
It's just like that. So
Mm.
for the first 6 or 7 houses or so that I flipped, it was her and other people like her that I established relationships with. Some that I learned through him, like her, and then learning how he did it. using my experience and showing people on my Facebook account how I do this work, they were okay with giving me the money.
Right.
And so it's people that I used to work with that were retired. I started them off slow. I said, well, you don't have to give me a whole amount of money for the house itself. You can just give me, you know, the money to do the rehab. And most of my rehabs stay around $60,000. I've had more, some that's more than that, but most of them I try to keep around 60 grand. So she was happy to give me 60 grand. The first time she gave me 30 grand, I used my 30 grand of my own money, and we partnered in so-called a rehab. I paid her her money back with a decent interest rate that she can't make in stocks and bonds uh, on average. There are some highs and lows, but on average, it's about 8% a year. And this is prior to the last couple of years with all the inflation that's going on. But prior to that, about 8% is what somebody make maximum on a pretty good performing mutual fund. So I gave her 9%, right? So she was fine. She made good money off her investment, and we were good. So there's personal money, then there's hard money lenders. Hard money lenders will give you. I have two hard money lenders that will give me $2 million at any moment in time I want it. Now, I have to be smart about how to use that money because if I go buy a house or look to buy a house or apartment building for, let's say a house for $300,000, 10% of that 10% of that purchase price has to come from me. I also have to pay the closing costs, and then they'll fund 100% of my rehab. However, I have to pay the rehab money up front, and then they reimburse me.
Mm,
So hard money lenders, they do give me more money, but it also takes more money out of my pocket in order for me to do a deal.
mm,
So um, and then I have a line of credit with my bank. I bank with Navy Federal, being a veteran. I have they gave me a $10,000 line of credit like that.
mm,
I think they were the second people I had credit with. The first I had was Lowe's. I have a Lowe's business account that I use when I go and buying material for my flips. So Lowe's gave me the first one, and then Navy Fed gave me $10,000. They offered me a credit card for $50,000, but I turned it down because I had other credit cards already.
mm.
So, so I have multiple types of. My whole point of my story is I have multiple types of credit based on what kind of business that I do. Now, in real estate, most people that I pay in cash.
Mm.
So I need to have hard money lenders and personal lenders in order to operate and get in the house. Now, if I buy the materials, I can put the materials on my Lowe's card or other credit cards that I have, and then when I close on the property, I pay those cards back off.
Gotcha.
So, it's key that you manage your credit correctly. Getting the credit is one thing, manage is a whole nother story. So I always tell people is look at how you manage your own personal credit, and that will tell you how you're going to manage your business credit. If
Okay.
you be honest with yourself, if you jacked up with your personal credit, do not go and attempt to get any business credit right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fix your personal credit and your habits first before you go over there, because you're going to be dealing with a lot more money, and then you're going to get yourself into a lot of trouble and end up going bankrupt and losing your business. You don't want to do that.
Right. That's good advice because a lot of us still have to work on our ourselves first before we can start doing those types of things. So it does help to know you know how you can even begin that process. Now, when it comes to business credit and your personal credit, I don't know if you touched base on this or not, but uh, I know you've told me not to, use my personal credit for business credit, but you know, uh, can you elaborate on, that as it pertains to how people should navigate that?
Yeah. People say, well, how can I get business credit if I don't have any business credit, right? So there are companies out there that will give you what we call net 30 accounts. I mentioned to you before, Uline is one of the companies that you can use. Supply Works is another company you can use. There are a few. out there that that are available for us to utilize. Um, but Uline is definitely a great one to start with. And the reason why I say Uline is because Uline is they have, paper products for the most part, boxes, envelopes, packing stuff, paper, things like that you can use for your office. And if we all have a business, we all need some of that material at some point in time. And so, how Uline operates and Supply Works operate is they have what's it called, um, the net 30 terms where you'll go and you'll buy something on credit for 30 days. At the end of that 30-day period, you have to pay off what it is that you bought. So you know that you need, paper for your printer because you got to print something out, or you need to pack something, ship something out. In your case, selling your merchandise that you have, your cups and your pillows and things of that nature. Yeah, I'm throwing a plug for you, so I see what she do. So, when she packing her mugs up and she needs those small boxes, then order a couple boxes that month. You're gonna pay cash for them anyway, right? So
Right.
instead of paying your cash out of your pocket right away, use your business line of credit with Uline, and then boom, pay them off. The benefit behind Uline is they're gonna report to all three business reporting agencies, and once they do that, um, those are three that's one um, payment transaction that you have with them. So that's you building your credit. So if you go um, for about 3 months with a company like Uline, Supply Works, and like Office Depot, Staples, all those companies that give you these net 30 accounts, then in 4 months you'll have business credit. And actually, you can do it in probably 2 months if you want to, because all those companies I just named, picked, I called out, they report to all other companies. Um, there's another one I want to send to you. I don't have it with me, but I looked it up and I thought about you when I looked it up. And it's a t-shirt company. So what they do is they give you credit up to, I think you can spend up $2,500 a month, and they will um, uh, print your shirts, logos, whatever it is you want, and mail it out for you. I think it's like $2.95 a shirt, which is
Oh
really
wow.
not that.
Okay.
Yeah, really not that bad, right? So they do all kind of other apparel. So you're knocking out two birds with one stone. You're
Right.
getting somebody to help you establish your credit because they're gonna report, and then two, you don't have to come up out of pocket right away for your merch. You can sell it to your customer, get the merch sent out to them or sent to yourself, however you want to do it. If you're gonna go do a trade show or a craft show or something that weekend, and you order 15 shirts or 20, 100 shirts, then that 100 shirts can go on your credit. You don't have to come out of pocket for it. You go sell the shirts. You pay them their money back. Everybody's good.
Right.
So, so now that's not using your personal credit. Uh, Earlier, I said using your personal credit is to help you establish your business, help fund some things, maybe use your personal credit card. Use your personal credit in that way, because if you go out and you use personal credit to as a guarantee on a line of credit you get from a company or a loan, then it's going to hit your personal credit.
Mhm.
And so now that it's not hurting the business, but it's not helping the business either. The business is
Right.
not standing on its own 2 feet, and you have to make it stand. And some of us, let's be honest, some of us don't have the best credit in the world,
Right.
right? You might have foreclosure or something like that. Now, some banks will want to look at pull your social security number and look at you personally as a person before issuing the business something. However, it's not a credit hit on you. It's just to verify you are who you are, who you say you are, and kind of get a glimpse of what kind of person you are. Yeah,
Somebody.
great. Granger and Quill are definitely good ones. Seem like Steve definitely know some stuff about business credit. So not many people know about Quill. I didn't mention Granger because Granger is a lot of tools and stuff like that. I know people might be in the automotive industry or something like that. Granger has a lot more on the tool side than they do on the things that the common business person uses a lot. So Quill is good as well. There are several out there. I only mentioned a few because again, I can't squeeze everything into the time that we have allotted for today. I know everybody has short attention spans, so I don't want
Yeah. But you know what? It's a good thing though, because like I said, even if they have short attention span, they can always go back and review the videos later. And it is good information, because those of us who are in the business of making our own, well, making ourselves our bosses,
to.
and actually want to build these businesses, they'll listen. So I don't really concern myself for those who don't need the information. If you don't need the information, that's fine. But for those
Hmm.
of us that, actually are trying to establish businesses, this is important information for us. So
Absolutely.
I definitely appreciate you coming on and, doing this with me. So um
Yes.
now, as far as like uh I know you were talking about the separation of business credit, and what are some best practices to distinguish your business funds separately from your personal funds, so that when we do start the whole business credit thing, we'll be able to, when I know we all have to file taxes, and then especially with us having businesses, we don't want the IRS to ding us for something related to the business. So what are some good practices for us as far as being able to separate that?
The biggest thing is make sure you have, early in the call I said, there's some things I want you to establish up front. Your virtual business address, your EIN, establish your company, get your domain name, get your phone number, and email address, right? All right,
Right.
and then and a bank account, right?
Gotcha.
So
Mhm.
so make sure that your personal bank account and your business bank account are completely separate. That's
Right.
that's one of the
Okay.
biggest things. Don't go uh transferring money from your business account to your personal account just because you broke. The business the business
Right.
got money, you broke, right?
Right.
Especially if you have a job still, you're working your 9 to 5 and you're trying to build your hustle. The last thing you want to do is take money from your hustle that you're trying to come up on and establish a good solid foundation on, take money from there and put it into your personal account because you saw a pair of Gucci slippers or a belt or you trying to be fly going somewhere. Nah, no, you gotta cut all that stuff off. So the biggest thing is while you're building a business, be very patient with yourself. Take the
Mhm.
baby steps. This is not a fast process. You're not gonna get anywhere overnight. I've been doing, real estate for 7 years now, and I'm proud because most businesses fail in the first 5 years. I
Right.
haven't failed. So, um, and I'm in a very volatile business at that. So it's 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 taking your time. I made some mistakes. I lost some money. I lost a lot of money, but I've also made a lot of money, right? So, in 2019, I lost $80,000 on a business transaction.
Oh, wow.
I was, and then, but in 2020, 2021, I made $107,000 off one transaction.
Right.
So it happens. It happens. And when you go into business, understand it takes money to make money. And and then when you make the money, be smart about how you do and understand that there's risk in everything. You can't avoid things, some things you can't see, but you got to make sure that you have the right foundation so you can bounce back. So the one of the best foundations you can have is definitely keeping your personal side from your business side in all aspects.
Right.
Your don't tie your money in together. Now, I will tell people that learning, what's it called? Learning or going back to your college days or high school days when you did accounting. There is asset plus liabilities equals, that owner's equity or something like that, right? So make sure that you kind of get that formula in your head and understand it.
Mm.
Um, because the owner's equity part is key. So now I can, as an owner of the business, I can take money from my personal account and invest it into the business account, right? I dropped 5,000 into my account to start it out with. Now that money is always going to be mine. It's just an investment that I gave to my company.
Right.
So now, if I want to say I want to do a withdrawal from my business account, I'll withdraw from the owner's equity and pull it back into my personal, and that's perfectly fine. So if you don't have QuickBooks, I recommend people get QuickBooks.
Okay.
There's a free version of it, and then there's a scale version of it. As your business grows, you're gonna have to put money into and get in the right QuickBooks. QuickBooks is not something that's easy to learn right off the bat. There are plenty of uh, YouTube university professors out there that will
Right.
teach you how to use, QuickBooks. And if you don't have an accountant, get one, right? Get yourself a business accountant, someone who knows what they're doing, not your cousin, unless your cousin is a CPA. And, I love my family to death, but I prefer to get somebody outside my family because they're going to tell me the truth. My family
Right.
might not really tell me the truth sometimes, and it could cause my business to crash. So
Right.
I've had professional accountants since before I started my business. So you asked about IRS stuff and your LLC and your personal.
Mm-hmm.
So what you have to understand is that until you take your LLC and make it a Inc. Incorporated company, your LLC and your personal taxes are always going to be filed together. So
Okay.
what happens is your accountant's going to do your taxes as the individual, your company's taxes as the individual entity as a company, and then it brings everything back together. So, say for instance, in your personal taxes, you made too much money, you didn't have enough write-offs, you owe $2,000. In your business, you did well, you had a lot of write-offs, and and the government, you know, uh, wants wants you to pay another. I mean, owes you $5,000. So when they pull it back together, you're gonna actually get a check for $3,000.
Mm, okay.
See what I'm saying? So that's how my accountant does mine. Again, that's how LLCs are done. Even if you're married, you and your spouse are gonna be joint. You're gonna work together. They'll do them together, and they'll do the business separate, and they'll bring you back together, and then you file. If you're married filing joint, or if you're married filing individually, it'd be like the first example I gave. So, um, from an IRS perspective, don't have to worry about them trying to come for your personal money if you're doing something not too above board in your company. The reason why you establish your LLC is to protect you personally. So IRS or anyone else can only come after what the business owns. They can't come after your personal stuff.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know because, I know that scares a lot of people too, as it relates to um, when things like, because I know, there are certain individuals that have told me about how they've had to establish their business. And, I asked, well, what if you can't, sell, like, so prime example, somebody owning their own dealership, what if you can't sell cars? Like, how would that affect your personal assets? And they were explaining to me that, when all it would do is the company, or rather IRS, would just seize, whatever liquid assets that they have for that company. So it would be,
Hmm.
they'd have to take the cars, they'll have to take the building, things like
Hmm.
that, but it wouldn't
Yeah.
affect their house or their own personal vehicle, things like that.
Right. Right. And what they have to understand is that if you owe IRS $20,000 and they do all those things, and you only have $15,000 in equity, you still owe IRS the $5,000. So
Mhm,
at any time in the future in your business, you make um, another $5,000, they're gonna take that money first.
mhm.
And so people have to understand that as a business, you never kind of get away from owing that money.
Right,
And the longer you owe IRS money, that interest, it jumps. I
right.
mean, it is a monster. So I've had to pay because I made too much money. I paid a substantial amount on different times, but I used to think really negative about that. I used to get pissed about that, and I had a conversation with my uncle. May he rest in peace. He kind of broke the game off to me when it comes to real estate, and he said, "Why would you make less money just because you're afraid to pay taxes on it?"
Yeah. I mean, that's a That's a
That's
good point.
OG. That's OG advice right there. That's OG advice. I was like, dang, he just smacked me all around with that one. So I said, okay,
Right.
noted. So ever since then, I don't care, man. I'll write off what I can legally. But sometimes if you're making so much money, you might just run out of things to write off.
Right.
There's a when you're in an LLC, there's only so many things that you can really start to write off. Now,
Mhm.
all the stuff that we hear some of the large businesses are able to do, that's because they're incorporated, right?
Mhm.
Now, when you become incorporated, now all bets are off.
Right.
Your personal money does come into play at this point. You're not protected
Mhm.
like that anymore because
Okay.
you make a substantial amount of money if you're incorporated, right? And you should have a good team of lawyers and tax accountants and so on and so forth. A lot of people hate Donald Trump about some of his tax stuff, but hey, you can't be mad at the man. He didn't write the tax code.
True.
He just hired people who understands it, and they use it, and they tell him how best to utilize it for his benefit. Now,
Right.
just to let everybody know, I'm not a Donald Trump supporter. I'm not really into politics like
Now make
that.
that
but we're talking business, and the man knows business, flat out.
right.
So, um, yeah. So don't be mad at that. Just gotta understand it.
Right. So and I know we're nearing the end of everything. But and we'll get to the reading material and other suggested recommendations later. But I did want to also ask, are there any issues that small businesses should look out for during this process of establishing business credit, to prevent, them being denied or the delay of it?
It really is just making sure you pay your bills on time. Understand the credit terms in which you have signed up for. So, if you have if you have an American Express business personal credit card, and you want to establish an American Express business card, then 9 times out of 10 you'll probably get it because you already have an established relationship with American Express. So American Express has 14 different business cards. Four of their cards are, I think it's four, maybe five of their cards are the standard American Express cards. That means that you have to pay the full balance off every 30 to 60 days.
Hmm.
Then the rest of those cards, 9 to 10 cards, are revolving cards. That means that you can carry a balance, which most of us that have credit cards, most of us do carry balances on some of our credit cards, which is fine because our the things that we've been taught in building our credit score up is that it's just as bad to have a zero balance on a credit card with a $5,000 balance as it is to have a $5,000 balance on a $5,000 balance credit card.
Right.
So the best balance to have on a credit card is between 30 and 50% of the balance is still sitting out there. That goes from a business perspective or from a personal perspective. Now, unless again the card itself is requires you to pay off 30, 60 days. If it's a net 30 account, make your payments. Use your cards. Whatever credit you get, make sure that you're going to use it. Don't get credit just to sit on the credit. That's the worst thing you can do to yourself, especially on the business side, because businesses will give you more if you use it. They will take away if you don't.
Hmm. Okay.
All right. So I might say, Peach Talk is doing phenomenal. I see things. I want to give you a $15,000 credit card, and that first month you use it, you pay it down, pay it off, whatever it is. Everything's great, and then you go do that for about 4 months, and then they say, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna give you a $30,000 limit now." So boom, they give you a $30,000 limit. You might use 20 something thousand of it, and you pay it off because you're really killing it. Merchandise is flying off the shelves. You're doing great, right? And then you have a slow moment. People stop spending. It happens, and that happens for 6 months. Guess what's going to happen? Amex is going to take your card number, your balance back down to 10,000 or 15,000. That's not a negative somewhat on you. It's just you don't need all that money. So why should I extend all that money to you, right?
Right.
So that's kind of how businesses look at it. So as a small business, don't get discouraged if that happens. Just find ways to increase your business. Find ways to do more business. If you find ways to do more business and be creative with the funding that you have access to, then you'll be fine. So pay your stuff on time. Um, and I said most importantly, establish your business the right way up front. And as you move along, make sure you update all your stuff. If you grow and you move from one virtual office to a next or actual physical office, then just change your information. Don't try to apply for credit in that time. Just make sure keep that going. Um,
I think that's the most important thing, like you were saying, as far as patience is concerned, because I know for me, I just want everything to be done. Like I wanted to go ahead, but even learning from you, with the these shows and things like that, I'm starting to realize, okay, in order for me to make sure that I don't get in any trouble or that we're doing it the right way, I have to be very patient with myself because it is a learning process. Everybody won't come out the gate knowing how to build a business. So it does, help with these types of resources. Being able to, if we do start, being able to go back and say, okay, so I didn't do this the right way the first time. Let me go ahead and make these corrections so that moving forward I can get to the next step. Because I
yep,
know, for me, there are certain things that I can't even do right now because now understanding more about this, I'm like, okay, shoot, I got to go back and clean up some things before I can you know start working on establishing that business credit. So
right,
so I definitely appreciate all this information because like I said, it's teaching me too. Like a lot of people think I just do these shows for entertainment, but it actually it teaches me, it teaches people that are viewing. And not everybody is going to be receptive to the information, including other shows that we do. um because I, like I've explained to you, we do shows about intimacy and things like that, and I learn new things about people, and vice
mhm,
versa, people learn new things about me. So it is definitely appreciated when you can come on and give these tips and this information so that we don't run into issues moving forward.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's all very important. Like I said, just be patient, everyone. This is not a 100-yard dash. It's not, not even a 400. This is a marathon. This is if you know anything about marathons, this is an Ironman. It's a 50-mile run. It's a 50-mile run. It's a 100-mile bike ride, and it's a 3-mile swim. It takes a lot out of you to get there. So, be patient. Be creative. Definitely be open to people. Um, helping you out. Listen to people who've been there before. Take some nuggets from yourself. Move forward with that. Um, and more than anything, don't be afraid to be coached. There's mastermind groups. There's coaches in almost every kind of business industry out there. You got to filter through the BS. There are people who are out here just trying to make a quick dollar off of you, right? But don't be afraid to pay the right person for the right information, and you'll know who the right person is because you just got to research them, stay on them, and listen to the quality of information they're giving out. And some people will give out a lot of information that other people want to try to trick you into paying for, right? Just pay us $97 or 197 or 297 or 397. The 97 is a mental sales trick
Mhm.
for people to sign up for things and do things. So
Right.
once you start getting into that business, you'll see that and understand that. Um, so those things are um, you
Yes,
know
he does, Steven. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah. So those things are very important. That, people I try to tell to kind of make sure you stay focused on as you're going through this process. So I just get information. Just to hear people talking and soak up the information. Get into the right rooms with the right people.
Right.
So and this is a perfect place to kind of put my plug in. All right.
Oh, wait, because you did, we I don't know if we did talk about, uh, you were saying something earlier about for those who want to establish certain accounts, like the small accounts, and you were saying that if you don't have those funds, you were gonna talk about how to get those funds as far as
Oh
like
yeah,
the
oh yeah. It's easy. So you find I was told when I was being coached that people only know what you do if you tell them. So I'll be in a grocery store and I'll say, hey, yeah. So I'll be talking to people in line while we're waiting to check out. And I ask them what do they do. And they tell them, and they ask you, what do you do? Oh, I'm a real estate investor and I buy houses and da 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 da. If you know anybody that has a house, that want to sell it, let me know. And also, if you're an investor, you have some money in your 401k or whatever you like to offer up, then, it's also, I like working with investors. I give you a great return on your money. And, just let me know if you're interested, yada, yada, yada. And I let it go. Check out, move on. So you do that with your family, you do that with your friends, do the other business people, and say I'm starting my business, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. Um, you know, do you mind investing $500 into me or $100 into me to start out? So uh, it was it's not a secret, but people don't really think about it, right? So don't be afraid to ask people to invest in you, but don't go to them with a half-cocked, proposal either. It, you know,
uh,
start writing your business plan, know what it is your business is going to do, how you're going to do it. If you're already doing it, then explain to them a little bit what you're doing. Show them proof that you're doing this, and you'll be surprised. I've had someone give me $30,000, wrote me a check for $30,000, and didn't want anything back.
wow,
That's
wow,
all because I talked to the individual. They knew who I was. I told them what I was doing, and I was having a conversation with them about a property I was looking to get, and I was saying, man, yeah, I need about I need to figure out how to get about another 30 grand. So I had 72 grand in my account that I could use, but I need about 30 grand more to secure it the way I wanted to secure it. And so uh, next thing I know, he came over and he said, hey, here you go. Here's the 30 grand you're looking for. I said, dude, I can't take this from you. He's like, why not? And my money not good? I was like, well, it is, but I mean, and I was like, I said, all right, cool. I said, I'll work to pay it back. He said, I didn't ask for you to pay it back to me. I believe in you and what you're doing.
oh wow, that's awesome.
So, yeah, well, we're still friends today, and he's never blinked or acted funny or whatever about it. Now, you might not have friends that got $30,000 to give
Right.
you right away. I know he has that kind of money, but I never asked him for anything. I have friends that are millionaires, um, um, and I have a business partner that is pretty much a bona fide billionaire, but I don't ask them for money. I
Right,
don't ask them for anything. To be being connected to those people, you can have connections with other people that have,
right.
that kind of money. They're looking to give the money to somebody. Um, I'm in a wholesale car club on Facebook, and crazy, but I pitched it to a guy that I'm in real estate, told him everything, and the guy said, I'd like to talk to you more. And I said, okay, fine. So we connected off outside of the Facebook, and he said, tell me about your process where people invest in you. I told him the process. He said, do you have documents? I do. I have legally drawn up documents to protect him and me, both financially. I sent him over the documents. He sent it to his lawyers. Lawyers looked at it. He gave him approval. He said, I'm willing to give you up to a million and a half. No questions asked.
Wow.
I never met the guy, only talked to him once or twice on the phone. But he knew by my conversation what I was able what I'm doing, I can back it up. I prove it. He checked it all out. I have legal documents I sent right away, so he knows it's not
Just
full gold. Yeah, I'm not talking on my side of my mouth. So he verified all that. It's people out here that has plenty of money and they're willing to give it to you, but you have to be in an appropriate position to accept it. Just like going back to the beginning of the conversation, Make sure you establish your business the right way. If you
Yeah.
do, the money will come.
Okay.
Trust me, the money will come. So,
Well,
yeah.
that's awesome advice. And I appreciate you again coming on and dropping these gems. Of course, we will always have another show about business, establishing businesses. I
Right.
did want to also ask you about, before we leave, those reading material as far as, I know we'll probably have to get, another show that will go in extensive detail. But as far as business credit is concerned, do you have any references for that?
Not any books. Nah, I have some stuff I'm gonna send to you.
Okay.
Um,
And we'll place it in the description, obviously.
yeah.
Once everything uploads to YouTube, they'll actually, I mean, I'll actually be able to put it in the description for people to actually reference later.
Yeah, I will say there's one book by a friend of mine. He served in the Marine Corps with me. He's a mayor in Virginia right now. But he wrote this book called Building Business Credit. His name is Derek Wood. You can find it on Amazon. It's not a long read. It's probably like that thick, if anything. Really good book, and it tells you a lot of the basics. A lot of things you heard me say on this, he says in the book, and then he probably goes into a little more detail as well. So outside of being mayor, he's a chef, and he owns his own barbecue food trailer, which is very successful because that's before he became mayor. That's what fed his family. And he has three kids, and he's sent two through college, well, one through college, another one's in college now. And he has nice house and all that. They go on vacations, and he's tied to what's the guy, Eric, um, the motivational speaker. What's his name? Uh,
Um,
it's Eric. I can see his face. I can think of his name. But I'm pretty sure people know who I'm talking about. He's real loud, guy. Oh man. Anyway, they're tied together. He learned a lot of his business stuff from this guy. But anyway, so building business credit is the name of the book, and his name is Derek Woods. So I would say support him and check him out. Check out the book. It's not that expensive. Um, Again, a couple dollars for some more information that you can use for building credit. But I do want to throw in the last plug because I know we almost had time. I told you I had a big announcement that I want to have for you on this page. So one of the things that I've been working on is just kind of what we're doing here. Um, as black people, we tend to always start the race off last or late, and we have to work extra hard to try to catch up. And before we catch up, the race changes, right? So, what myself and some other people have come together to do is to establish something that is going to be kind of like this, where we're going to bring in people from all different aspects into a virtual space that will basically be the example that our young black men and women need to see in order to feel like they can be successful in whatever it is they do. So we have established what we call a unified Black America is the campaign that we're on. So for you guys to hear more about it, understand more about it, go to We Are UBA. That's Uniform Bravo Apple UBA. We are UBA.com. We have a Twitter page. We just did a big announcement this past Wednesday, no Thursday, and there should be a link on our Twitter page from the guy that's our president, and that's my business partner, and I've been advising him business wise for the past 6 or 7 years. His company is an IT company, and they just won a $13.9 billion contract with the federal government. So, and we're also connected with a young lady named Santia Deck, Santia Deck, Deck. She's the first black-owned um, first black female to have her own shoe company and shoe line. She is partnered with Champs Sports. She had her release in August in Miami. They sold 800 something units that day, the most the Champs store has ever sold. That's the biggest Champs in the United States.
Wow, that's
So her shoe company is called Tronos, Tronus. She is also one of our ambassadors, one of our partners. So there's more, a whole lot more. Uh, but we will have a meta. We are creating a metaverse. We will have crypto. We will have NFTs, all that stuff inside this, and it's only going to be accessible to Black people
see, and that's awesome. Because of course, you and I have talked offline rather,
offline. Yeah,
and people ask me all the time, why did I start, Peach Talk, and how I've already told you. If you notice, I have not had a Caucasian person on my show yet, and it's nothing against Caucasians. I am half
no, not at
white.
all.
My father's white, right?
Mhm.
But we all, the black community, we don't have enough of our own platforms where we can, support each other and give, things like this, to give each other advice to help uplift one another and support one another. As far as even when with you having your own businesses, being able to promote each other, being able to, just get that information out there to the public. Because a lot of times, we don't have enough people backing us to support what we're doing. So it's always good to be able to have those types of platforms for people, especially our up and coming generation, because we definitely need it. We've gotten out of the "it takes a village" mentality, and
Mhm.
I think that that has to be reestablished in our community. So
Right,
like I said, I commend you for all that you're doing. I appreciate you always being willing to come on the show and give, drop these gems, because again, it does help us as a community to build generational wealth. So,
right.
of course, I won't keep you. But yes, y'all, please check out Tellys, UBA, weareuba.com site, for those who want to build that community and be, involved.
Yep,
Um,
yep. If you want to join, there's a join link on there. Right now there's a wait list. Just because you're black and just because you want to be a part doesn't mean you're going to be a part right
mm,
away, right? So, because we take it serious, there's a vetting process, and we want to make sure the people that we let in, you're not just coming in and try to steal information, and then run away. This is, again, this is our opportunity as a black community where we don't have to subscribe to the laws of the people that established this country that we live in, to do and catch up, right,
right.
on things. We're starting off something early as the process as the technology has lent itself to do so.
Mhm.
So we are basically in creating our own world inside of the virtual space. And what happens in that space is you come into that space and you're able to educate yourself across the seven platforms that we have, the seven pillars that we have inside the inside that metaverse. Again, people say, well, it's virtual reality. What is that going to do with me in reality? Well, what it does is it allows you to go in, do things, learn things, establish stuff in there, and then take that stuff that you learn and the connections that you make, because those are real people. This is not fake
Mm,
people, even though it's a comic like avatar type person that you're interacting with, and they're real people. And when you come back out into the real world, y'all will have a real connection, and they know what you're about. You establish your business in there or whatever your services you're giving in there, and you can do that out here. Now, if you come back out here and we do that, people, everyone else around us, be like, how in the world did you learn all that stuff and know all
right,
that stuff? They didn't know where you went to school at or who you talked to, and they didn't realize that it's us helping us.
right,
We have all the talent. Everybody makes money off of us in one way or another. All the
right,
best entertainers, the best sports athletes, where do they come from? They come from us.
right,
But there are billionaires. out here that's living good. Their families and generations are living good off of our talents and abilities. It's time for us to take back control, take our talents and our abilities back, and then we establish a wealthy generation for our kids to come. So, that's why this is a very important thing to me. We meet every single day for an hour, hour and a half every single day. Um, and we have a alliance of very, very connected people, that are connected with us, that are have bought in, and they companies have given their resources to us. So our metaverse is even being created for free by a company that believes in what we're doing, and it's a black owned company, and they're one of the top companies out there that does it. So, again, everybody check it out. Let me know if you have questions, um, and you can send questions or whatever in the weareuba.com. They have a contact there, and it will come to myself or one of our we call ourselves founding members of it. It's not mine. I'm not in charge of it. I don't run it. I'm just one of the early founders who's building the structure out for it. So, um, but yes,
Okay,
love to have y'all.
that is awesome. So again, thank you guys for viewing. This has been wonderful. Telly, thank you again for taking out the time to come and drop some gems on us. As always, it is a pleasure having you on the show. And of course, we'll be, doing this again. So this
Right.
is not the last time you guys will see Telly.
Right.
But thank you again for taking out the time. And again,
Thank you.
guys, make sure we will put everything in the description so that you can go back and reference after the show. And as always, you guys stay sweet. Thank you again for viewing, guys.
Peace.